All right, people, welcome back. It's Dave. It is Save America Vote Tulsi Gabbard. There's a poll out, and I have to cover this poll because there's a lot to sort of unpack here. It's a CNN poll, so let's just start right there. It's CNN, folks. It's CNN, all right? So, again, you might want to take the poll with a grain of salt. I'm not willing to do that quite yet. We need maybe, Jordan over at Status Coup to uncover the methodology here used in this poll. I am, of course, just going to tell you what I think about these numbers. First of all, Tulsi Gabbard, the woman who should be president, is at 2% in this poll, which is significant because Amy Klobuchar is at 1%, Julian Castro is also at 1%, and rock star Christian Gillibrand is at 1%. Now, I had somebody on this thread, not me personally, but I saw somebody on this thread who said, I can't understand it. Gabbard isn't even campaigning, and Gillibrand, however you say her name, she's a rock star, and she's only got half of the support of Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, talk about going out of your way to attack Tulsi Gabbard. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard is tied with Cory Booker and trails Kamala Harris only by 3 points in this poll. That's some pretty interesting perspective. Tulsi Gabbard trails Beto O'Rourke by 4% in this poll. Tulsi Gabbard trails the guy who's gotten probably more favorable coverage in the last month or two, Pete Buttigieg, who's got 7%. And she trails Elizabeth Warren, who has 8%, okay? 6% difference between her and Elizabeth Warren. Not really too bad when you look at it that way, right? When you're going from the bottom to the top. Surprisingly, Andrew Yang has only 1% in this poll. And Marianne Williamson, too, who I think has been out there and fairly vocal, and I think she's her campaign, her candidacy is very odd to me, but anyway, she's at 1%. All right, now, that was kind of the good news. Bernie Sanders is at 15% in this poll. Joe Biden, this is just really is going to make your head explode. He's got 39% in this poll. Okay. So, couple of takeaways here. Biden at 39%. Yes, the launch has helped. The endorsements, the money from all your corporate people coming in. And again, my first point, CNN. This is a CNN poll. I want to see more polling, obviously. But this is not a good sign, because the number, if it were 29%, I'd be freaking out. It's 39%. All right, this thing might be over before it begins. And this really aggravates me, because we really do have a system that it's like a one-party system. It's a one-party system. I think it's what Chris Hedges says, it's the corporate party. And if you look at the candidates, other than... Now, some people like to put Elizabeth Warren in the progressive camp. I think she's a corporatist. I think she's a corporatist with progressive tendencies, but... okay. But look at all of these corporatist candidates. Biden, Buttigieg, O'Rourke, Kamala Harris at 5%. That's got to be crushing for her. Cory Booker is tied with Tulsi Gabbard at 2%. Good for Tulsi Gabbard. She's tied with Spartacus, the guy who essentially wanted to be Obama 2.0, and now I think that role is going over to Buttigieg, even though he's got the wrong skin color, but he's gay, so that might make up for it. I don't know how to play the identity politics shell game. I don't know how to really play that. I know that he gets points for being gay, and I know he loses points for being white, and from the Midwest probably too, because then people think he's like Mike Pence or something. I don't, because he's from the same state. Although he's out there arguing that, you know, he's got more military. And no, again, nobody talks about Tulsi Gabbard, but everybody is touting Pete as Mayor Pete having all this military experience. And by the way, some of that military experience is kind of like deep state stuff. It's like undercover sort of. Is that what you want? Because he's going to be going into every damn country to do regime change if he becomes president. I mean, although Biden at 39% is probably going to do the same thing as well. I can't explain this, people. I can't explain it. You know, my original take on this was that Sanders would maintain a lead over Biden. I really thought this. Biden would jump in and get maybe a small bump. But Biden has come in and basically everybody is like Jonah, you know? I mean, they've all been swallowed up. I mean, Biden's this whale, and I guess, and Trump, okay, not to bring, I got to bring Trump into this a little bit. Trump is like tweeting out of control at Biden, okay? So what's that doing? Well, that's making Biden the front runner. Trump, see, everybody says, well, you know, Trump doesn't want to take on Biden. Why not? Why doesn't he want to take on Biden? People are, see, the conventional wisdom is not, you know, it can't be right in every situation. And the people who are, these are the same people, by the way. Hillary was going to win. She got a 90-something% chance of winning. Like, we can go down the list of things. You know, Donald Trump, you know, he's never going to, he can't win. He couldn't win in the primaries. He couldn't beat Jeb Bush. He couldn't beat Marco Rubio, and just destroyed them. All of them. And rather than doing a reevaluation of where they got it wrong, they just keep going with, it's like the Russiagate narrative. They just keep going. These guys, they're going to have wall-to-wall-to-wall news coverage between the continued Russiagate narrative, which hasn't, it just keeps going. I don't know, they're talking about obstruction or what they're talking about now. I have no idea because I don't watch this stuff. And then you've got Biden out there, who obviously is the chosen one. He is Hillary 2.0, and he's not Hillary. And I'm sure his campaign staff is saying, hey, we're going to the heartland. They're going to spend so much time in Michigan and Minnesota and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Your head is going to spin because there's nowhere else they really need to go. With that number at 39%, they don't know, you know, where else they have to go. They don't have to go anywhere else. Okay, so the takeaways are this. Tulsi Gabbard at 2%, believe it or not, is a victory. It's a victory because, as one person said it on this thread, she's not even campaigning, and that's crap. His perception is she's not campaigning, but she is campaigning. We know she's out there, and she's even getting interviews, and she's swatting these people away like bugs in every interview. She's getting smeared, and she's being misrepresented almost every time she does an interview. The Sanders camp, too, has got to be a little just blown away by this, because with 1 million+ volunteers and, you know, a really strong town hall event, by the way, on Fox News, where, I mean, I was just blown away by Bernie's performance in that. I think Bernie hit it out of the park, and I think there were a lot of people who supported Trump who looked at Bernie and said, you know what? Bernie is better than Trump. Bernie is Trump without all that, you know, baggage that Trump throws out there. I don't think the socialist thing is a problem anymore. I think it's in some circles it's going to still be a problem, but I think if you explain it and articulate it and Tell people what this means, not that the government's going to go into your house and tell you what you can do and what you can't do. I mean, the perceptions that people have of this are completely wrong. But I'm just blown away. 39%! Folks, we need a third way. Because, again, to quote Jill Stein here, you can't have a revolution in a counter-revolutionary party. A lot of these Democrats, and a lot of them are going to be people who just, they liked Trump, but they don't like all the crap that Trump says. And so they're going to switch over to Biden, and they're going to get the same policies. They're going to get the exact same policies without Charlottesville. You know, that's how he entered the campaign. Well, Charlottesville was a defining moment. You know what's a defining moment is the fact that we've got a military-industrial complex that is in control of who we get for candidates. And that trickles down to the media, which then anoints, like, again, third time I'm making this point, this is a CNN poll. But this is going to get a ton of traction. They waited, and of course they waited or took the poll at the Joe Biden moment where Joe gets in, and that's, you know, people are going to have his name on their lips. Ew, okay? Thinking of creepy Joe stuff. And here, look, and here's another thing. A lot of progressives are just doing video after video about Joe Biden's a perv, Joe Biden's a creep, Joe Biden. And I said this in another video. You know, I had the older relatives who were very grabby, hands-on. I didn't like it, but it's the way they were. I think people, Bill Clinton had oral sex in the White House. All right? Remember the blue dress? I mean, people are going to look at Biden and go, he's just, you could even say he's a creepy uncle, but that's where it ends, though. It doesn't, you're trying to make him out to be a child molester. You're going to have a tough go of that, I think. And people have to recognize that, and he, I know people are, like he said, you know, when he launched his campaign, you know, I've got to be more mindful. And people are just like, he's just so out of touch with what's happening now. I mean, Biden was never on a tape anywhere talking about grabbing a woman's fill in the blank, whereas Trump was. And people still voted for Donald Trump for president. So, yeah, Joe Biden, you know, you smell the hair and this and that, and people doing video after video after video. Really? You're going to play the moralist card on Joe Biden, and you think that's going to stick after we had Bill Clinton, and then we had the pea grabber here? Trump? Come on, people. I look at that and I go, okay, new strategy. All right, here's the strategy with Biden. Just like the Russiagate thing, you can't keep focusing on Russiagate because that ain't working, because it was fake news, and it continues to be fake news. With Bernie Sanders, you got to talk about policy. You got to hit him with policy. You got to hit him with all the things that he's going to be just like Trump on. Okay? You're going to lose more manufacturing jobs. You know, he's being touted again as Joe from Scranton or whatever. You know, they're going to continue to kind of run the Midwestern narrative, and he's one of them and so forth. They're going to. It's really sad to see this unfolding, but the truth of the matter is we need another way. That's what we need, because again, the revolution is not going to happen within this party. If you want something new and different, you've got to create it. And you've got to get outside this corporate structure which doesn't allow for any kind of new ideas and new candidates to emerge. I mean, you're going to have, what, the 76-year-old, and no offense to Bernie Sanders, he's an old guy too. At least Bernie had some ideas that people wanted and liked. Biden is going to pay lip service to some of those ideas, but he's not going to implement any of those ideas. He's fundraising from Comcast. He's not going to... You think he's going to do, like, free speech reform or anything like that? No. Or any platform that Bernie is on, Joe might pay some lip service to it, and then you got Bernie saying, well, if it's me or Joe, Bernie must have seen some internal numbers, and that's why he made that statement. Because he's thinking to himself, well, if Joe comes in and starts crushing me, I might as well let people know that, hey, I'm okay with Joe Biden. And that was a shock, too. A person who's not bending, by the way, on this stuff is Tulsi Gabbard. And I know, she's only at 2%, but it's better than 1%. It's better than the rock star, Kristen Gillibrand. She's a rock star. I can't understand why she's only at 1%. And Tulsi Gabbard's not even campaigning. No, the media is not allowing you to see Tulsi Gabbard campaigning. Wow, people. A lot to digest here. The good news, Tulsi is moving up in the polls. She's tied with Spartacus. That, to me, is, that's amazing, because he's a corporatist, and she's not. She's a rebel, and we need the rebel in the White House. But the way I see it right now, it doesn't even look good for Bernie right now. But, you know, things can change. And again, this is CNN. Let's look at some other polls. Let's get some more polling data. And then, if you want to get close to the ledge and jump, you can go ahead and do that. I think if you're going to do that, though, we need to take that energy and move it to a third way. You got to. And even if you lose, like Jill Stein says, even if you lose on principle, and you build a movement. And you got to build a movement. You probably need to build a movement around somebody who's not in their late 70s. I don't care about gender. I don't care about any of that stuff, skin color. I'm thinking age is gonna matter. You need energy. Experience is good, but you got to be able to campaign and convince people that your ideas are the best ideas. And, you know, hopefully you're going to be around for a while to espouse these ideas. And so that's why Tulsi Gabbard is the perfect person to build a movement around here. She really is. She's got it all. We'll see what happens, folks. Hopefully someday I'll look back at this video and go, I was panicked over nothing. This was just a blip on the radar screen. Biden imploded right after I did this video, and then everything was great. Bernie rushed to the top. Tulsi was right behind him. Let's hope.